What is going on, everyone? Scion's here with the Everyday Grind. It's a new week. It's a new raid tier in Warcraft, and that got me thinking, why has Blizzard stopped adding races to the game? The game's all about diversity right now. People want cross-faction play. I want cross-faction play. Let's add some more races that we can play in the game. Then I thought to myself, what races would be really cool to play? I started thinking about it. I started flying over all of the zones, and some of the zones had more choices that appealed to me more than others. But I did come up with a top 10 list that I would love to share with you today. If you want to talk more about it, come join my live streams on Twitch 5 days a week, where you'll see a lot of MMO gameplay, get some viewer value, and watch the occasional tube top stream. It happens. And don't forget to help your man out. Hit that subscribe button on this YouTube channel so you know when I've uploaded more of your favorite content. Let's get started. My top 10 races Blizzard must add to the game so we can play them. Starting at number 1, I've chosen the Frostborn Dwarf. They are located in the Storm Peaks region of Northrend, and they're really found throughout the entire zone if you're following specific quest chains. They are, dwarves, sturdy, tough, and they can fill many roles just like their counterpart cousins, the Dark Iron Dwarves. I'm thinking that a really cool racial ability would be some kind of frozen storm form, or something really cool like a frost breath stun ability. A great passive ability could be a reduction to frost magic damage, or even bonus damage when fighting in a colder climate. It just depends on how they're making the game at that time. While Dark Iron Dwarf was sought out by players, the Frostborn Dwarf is a must to add to the game. I mean, it's all about family. We are going to stay in the same zone, Northrend, and a huge fan favorite coming out of Northrend, the Tescar. This race could easily be a fishing expert, where your racial ability would be obviously a bonus to fishing, or maybe even some kind of tusk stun could be used, and they could use those huge walrus tusks to stab somebody or hit him in the head. I think it would be great. There's a lot of opportunity here with the Tescar. I believe the Tescar would make great hunters, great druids, maybe even shamans. I wonder what you could do with the druid form here. I bet it would be pretty awesome. As I've said before, players loved the Tescar. They loved coming in. They used to call us Shalashka. I'm sure they still do. And players would love the opportunity to play them in the game. Again, in the same zone, Northrend, I chose the Wolvar. They are a fierce, powerful race of unimaginable fury. I mean, we have pandas and foxes in the game. Wolvar is the next best choice. I think it should have been in the game before foxes. I can see them as a super melee DPS, a shaman, a hunter, maybe even a druid. That might be a stretch. Probably not monk or warrior. I think that their racial ability could be some kind of serious bleed, like a percentage of health or a timed bleed, maybe even some kind of berserker choice, as they are obviously and closely related to the Wolverine family. It's obvious. Look at those little babies in there. I've wanted the chance to play one of these for years. Again, it's another race that I think Blizzard needs to put into the game. It's time. We can do this. Wolvar, number 3. Coming in at number 4, and back to Shadowlands we go. The Centaur from the Wild Hunt is another choice I would like to see in the game as a playable race. Look at these guys. They're natural warriors. They're fighting. They're sparring each other. It's time. They are obviously easy to implement in the game and in a variety of roles. The Centaurs from the Wild Hunt would make great druids, hunters, warriors, and maybe even a Death Knight. That would be kind of weird, but I think Blizzard could make it work. I was thinking the racial abilities would be some kind of back kick AoE, where the mobs behind you get scattered and stunned for a few seconds. Again, another great choice. Centaurs from the Wild Hunt. Let's get them in the game. At number 5, we go back to Northrend. This is where the meat of most of my choices are, and we can add the Tonka as a great racial choice that Blizzard needs to add to the game. For a long time now, Horde players have wanted these cousins to the Tauren in the game. I think it's a great choice. Yes, I understand they added High Mountain Tauren to the game, but Tonka have been in the game a long time. It's time, Blizz. It's time. I think they would make great paladins, great shamans, death knights, warriors, and probably even druids. I mean, let's get some classes in there. Let's get some diversity. A great racial ability could be a long charge of some kind, like a stampede, where they run through mobs, knocking them out of the way and stunning them. Also, a great passive racial could be a leatherworking buff, as they've had to live on the plains of Northrend for years, and I would think perfected skinning and leatherworking. At number 6, our last race in Northrend that I chose, and one that has been mentioned by players as much as the Tescar for Blizzard to make a playable race, are the Vrykul. It would make awesome priests, mages, and warlocks. And as you can see here, great fighters, great warriors, and the opportunity, if you look at the nameplates here, to make a new class, the Berserker class. I think it would be great. Some active racial talents could be a shout or war cry that really acts as another hero and or bloodlust. Maybe even call in some allies like a hunter stampede or a war cry that buffs their own abilities, like a buff to their primary stat or health gain. They should have a racial mount also. I agree with this 100%, of a proto drake. That would be awesome, and given to them by their leaders as a rite of passage. I would definitely play one of these. Coming in at number 7, let's head over to Shattrath. I'm really excited about this. Let's go into the Burning Crusade and take a look at the Consortium. This is another great race choice that Blizzard can put into the game for players. Energy beings are so cool. They would make great rogues, hunters, warriors, shamans, and death knights. You can even probably put in a priest in there. Maybe even some kind of energy mage would be really cool as a new class. As far as the racials go, I'm thinking an obvious AoE stun with some kind of energy and maybe a barrier type personal damage reduction ability similar to a mage's ice block. A great passive ability could be a boost to engineering, or, and this is going to be controversial, since they are known for trade, they could have a reduced auction house fee when posting auctions on the auction house. That might make some people mad, but all in all, this is another great race to add to the game. At number 8, it's time. It is definitely time to add the Ogre race to the game. These huge brutes that can smash everything or even cast some devastating spells. Ogres could be very versatile in the game as a playable race, making great melee DPS of almost all classes. They would also make great shamans, priests, warlocks, and mages. The only classes I think would be weird for an ogre, kind of like for a Tauren. Taurens can't be rogues, or maybe they can be now, is hunter, monk, and rogue. It just doesn't fit the race. That's okay. Because there are so many ogre magi in the game, this would be a great opportunity for Blizzard to add a sorcerer class to the game specifically for ogres. I think this would be great. I could definitely see that. Some great racial ideas are kind of obvious. Huge blows that knock mobs back, maybe a stomp of some kind, or even just a straight punch that knocks mobs senseless. Imagine doing that as a magic damage dealer. At number 9, we're going over to Battle for Azeroth, and my first pick for a playable race is the Tortolans. Smart, sturdy, and would be a ton of fun to play. This race was much loved by players, even as annoying as the saying, "Another turtle made it to the water," was. Players still wanted to make them playable races in the game. I agree 110%. This race would make a great warrior, shaman, hunter, and maybe even mage. Some great racial ability ideas could be a jump in the shell ability, where the player pulls themselves into the shell as a damage reduction, or go into a violent spin, kind of like Mario, for an AoE damage effect. That would be absolutely awesome. Some passive ability options could be a boost to intellect, faster swimming, or even skimming on their shell over water. And finally, my 10th choice, we're going to stay in Battle for Azeroth, but we're going to travel to the Desert Sands, and we're going to choose the Shattrath as our final choice of races players I think would like to see introduced as playable races in World of Warcraft. This snake race would be excellent. Rogues, hunters, warlocks, maybe even monks. You could probably squeeze a mage in there. I think their passive racial abilities could range from a boost in agility or intellect to a natural dodge percentage. For active racial abilities, I I could see a spinning dodge or tail swipe for a bleed or a stun. And these are my top 10 race choices I would choose as playable races in World of Warcraft. Let me know in the comments below if you agree, or if you have another race that would be cool to add to the game. I'd love to hear about it. I would love to share that with World of Warcraft. That's it for me, everyone. Don't forget to catch my live streams on Twitch 5 days a week where we have a lot of fun. And please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to this YouTube channel so you know when I've uploaded another video or another short. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.